So, socials decided that my mother and my sister were to supervise our contact. I objected to this. And if they were really so concerned about my mental health, they would have listened to me and made other arrangements. But they obviously, my mental health is convenient in some instances, but in others, it's not um, considered. Um, so yeah, they said they had to, and we've been doing it for a year, and it's really played havoc on my mental health, and I'm sure my family's as well, because we do not get on whatsoever. Anyway, the reason I was also so concerned is we just had a massive blowout, and it didn't need to be massive, but of course my father was involved, and it became massive. What had happened was I had seen that my son was in my sister's car, and I was at my parents' house picking up post. And at first I hid, and then I thought, why am I hiding? I can see my son. He's my son. I have no court order. And social had been keeping my son from me for 2 years illegally. I didn't know that at the time, and no lawyers advised me that my son was being kept from me illegally. Um, so um, I went to the car and I opened the door and I got my son out and I put him on the ground, and all I wanted to do was say, "Hello, Baba, mommy's here. Mommy wants to say hello and she loves you and she's here." Now, I hadn't seen my son for 2 years. This is all I wanted to do. Um, but my son unfortunately ran away from me, and I got up and my father punched me. Now, I've never been punched in my life before, but my father punched me, and I kind of stumbled, and then he came behind me and grabbed me. And my mother, I was just screaming. I just couldn't believe this was happening. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like trying to pull um his shirt to try and get off me. So my mother put my son into my sister's car, and she sped off in this dramatic, here's this criminal person trying to see her son, and she sped off in this dramatic, way. And then after they'd gone, my father let me go and he went into the house. And my bag was all over the floor. So I started collecting my bag. My brother was just looking at me in contempt because he is such a disgusting person. Didn't even attempt to help me. And so, um, yeah, I went into the house, saw my dad, glared at him, and got my post. Now, I think that my father thought that I was going to report him for punching me, which I could have. I could have reported him, but I had no interest in going to the police. Um, so what he did was, now get that, this is psychotic. He bit himself. He bit his arm so badly that blood was being drawn. This is the psychotic people that I'm dealing with. So he showed my mother this. She took him to the hospital to get a tetanus injection, and the police arrived on their doorstep to find out about this whole thing. And I didn't know anything about this. I had no idea that he had done this. So I get to my lawyers, I think it was maybe a week later, I don't know. Oh, by the way, oh yes, the social had phoned me on Monday. Now, my sister hadn't told me that she told social, and his father had told social that, this was all me. This was all me. I'm a psychotic person. So, I didn't know that my father had said I'd bit him. And when I found out a week later, because I got the paperwork from my lawyer that I had bit my son, that I'd bit my father. So I immediately phoned my mother and I said, "What is this about? I didn't bite him. You were right there. Did you not see that I did not bite him?" And she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." I was like, "Excuse me?" She was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. He's fine now." I said, "Did you see me bite him or did you not see me bite him?" "Oh, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter now." I was like, "Are you actually for real?" Like, there is no way I could have forgotten that I bit my father to the point that he was bleeding, And anyone who was in that vicinity or area would have seen that I'd bitten my father. There was no way, because I would have known if I'd done it. And you know, you know what I wish I'd done? I said to my mother, I actually did say to my mother, check the bite mark, because my dad's got extremely straight teeth and mine are slightly crooked. Yeah, I said, check the bite mark, and also these teeth are not 100% straight. I mean, but anyway, I said, check the bite mark and you will see that it's not me that has bitten me. You'll see the pattern. And I mean, I should have gone to the police and reported that I did not bite this man, but he had it recorded. He went to the hospital in this big drama, had to get a tetanus injection. This is reported in the hospital. This again is my father doing this to me, because these men do not want me anywhere near my son, because I am the only one speaking out. I am the only one that wants to protect my son. I'm the only one that my son will talk to. So they do not want me anywhere near him. They have a vested interest to keep me away from my son. My brothers, my father, my sister's husband, my sister's father, there's numerous people. They have a very convenient little pedophile ring, that they're all protecting each other, that they're all looking after each other, that they're all gatekeeping my son from me, because I'm the only one speaking out. I'm the only one talking. I'm the only one trying to protect my son, and they know that. And like I said before, I honestly don't care if anyone doesn't believe me, doesn't believe that there's this pedophile ring. Like, I know I'm telling the truth. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know what my son has disclosed to me. So, you know, like I said before, as God is my witness, this is happening, and it's horrific. It's horrific. It's my own family, and obviously my sister's husband and his father don't give a damn, but there's many more men. There is many more men, and I mean, I'll name them. I don't care. I know I'll probably get sued, but like, my son's father has a myriad of men that drop in and out of his house day and night. I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. And I honestly wish someone would talk. I wish someone would have the decency to come forward. But yeah, I mean, what can I do? All I can do is do what God told me to do and speak out. I don't know. I don't know what his plan is. There was another disturbing thing that, oh yes, I wanted to highlight how many times his father stopped contact. Yeah, his father's always at these visits, and my son is always trying to stay away from me. I mean, this is totally unnatural, from being the closest two people in the world. You know, if you haven't seen your mother for 2 years, you're not going to suddenly be afraid of her and not want to come near her. There is just, I mean, if there's any psychologist worth their salt, they'll know this is totally unnatural behavior. But social are completely oblivious to this. So, yeah, this is a week, 26th of the 4th. His father cannot make it because he's working. And then they say, oh, my son is very wary of visits, so they're quite fine with these visits not going ahead. Yeah, another one, he's very busy with work, and check all the redacted stuff. Yeah, I'm sure he had a lot to say. Then I raised something about what my son said at one of the things, where he said he'd never had dinner at his father's house. And I can well believe it, because I know for a fact his father never had dinner when I was dating him. He would eat sweets for dinner. And my son said to me that he never has dinner, which I can completely. So another visit cancelled. My son was sick with a chest infection and sore throat. Now I have the doctor's notes here. Um, and the amount of times my son has been sick is, I mean, my son never once went to the doctor with me. I'm not better than his father. Well, I mean, I fed my son. I looked after my son. I feel my son is neglected. He's been to the doctor numerous times. But I mean, anything I say is dismissed and discredited because his father's so wonderful. Oh, yes. So in the last contact, the next day, my son was crying, seeking a lot of attention, hitting out as if he was having a tantrum. So this is all the behavior my son's displaying after seeing me, and this is totally coached. This is totally and utterly. So SW to speak to Claire regarding my son's presentation in relation to contact. So I mean, check it all this redacted stuff. What did he say? What did he say? What are they saying about me? That I'm this wicked, evil mother that my son is terrified of. Yeah, another one. Another cancellation. My son, his father loves doing this. His father loves doing this. He took a video. Now, if you recall in my previous, I was told I was disgusting for taking videos of my son. This video showing his father asking my son, and he loves doing this. When I read out my thing, he loves doing these little shows, these little acts, because he would have coached my son exactly what to say. The video showed Ian asking Caleb if he wanted to go and see his mother. Caleb was crying and upset, voicing that he did not want to go. Ian said to Caleb, "Why not? Your mommy loves you." Oh, this is just classic. Caleb repeatedly said that he does not want to go. Ian rang this SW advising that he does not think it is fair to send Caleb to see his mother due to the state he was in this morning. Ian said it's not fair on the child and he does not want to break the trust sending him to contact. I mean, he's not forcing his son to go. So another cancellation. So I actually lost it because this was probably the fourth or fifth cancellation. Claire was very upset about this. Claire said that Ian is alienating Caleb, that he is blocking the contact. SW advised Claire that she was wrong of the view that Ian is not manipulating Caleb and that Ian tries his best to promote contact. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just, I mean, it's just classic. He should get an Oscar for his performances, honestly. Claire disagreed with this, advising that Ian could say anything. However, he's not, I don't know what they just said. And she is certain that he is manipulating the child. Now, if Social had any regard for me as a mother and for what I have said, they would have gone and investigated with Caleb as to why he didn't want to see me. Why was no investigation done as to my son being so upset about seeing his mother? Why was there no investigation? Why was my son not asked what was upsetting him? Why was he so upset? And I can guarantee you they would have got it out of him eventually. But no, his father's word is golden. His father's word is true and honest and wonderful and lovely. Everything I say and do is lies, delusional, whatever. You know, it's so infuriating. It's so infuriating. SW asked why she thinks Ian would stop the contact. Claire said because he does not want me having contact with Caleb. He is a psychopath. 100% true. Claire said to SW, if you'd done your job properly, you would know that. Yes, if they had assessed Ian Stevenson, if they had done a psychological assessment of this man, there would have been major, major issues found. Major. So, I mean, I just talked to them as I'm talking to you. Claire said that the trust have never fully investigated Ian. Very true. Claire said that Ian needs a psychological assessment. However, this was never done. Absolutely 100%. Clay said, SW, you have let him get away with murder. Yes, I said that to them. They have let him get away with torturing and abusing my son. You let him get away with murder. I said it twice. Claire was extremely upset and continued to cry. Claire said to the SW that you have let him steal my son from me. You have given him to an abuser, and I don't care what you think. SW advisor Caleb has been assessed numerous times. Absolute lies. No allegations were substantiated and no evidence of abuse was found. Now, at this stage, there's no incentive for social to admit they're wrong. There's no incentive for social to ever uncover the truth, because that would be a massive lawsuit. That would be the end of social's so-called good name. I mean, they're not going to ever admit that they were wrong. They're not going to ever investigate. They're not going to ever protect my son. Oh yes, that he's been no allegations were substantiated and no evidence of abuse was found. If they had just investigated this, my son crying that he didn't want to see me, and his father going, "Oh, but your mommy loves you." Oh, please. Then, oh, this is when I was brought in. Then why does the school say that he looks for attention of others and that he comes to school hungry? You're letting him get away with all of this. Clara said that Caleb is traumatized. SW advised that Caleb's trauma and experience come from his time when he was taken to South Africa. And I said, I don't believe this. There's no way. My son and I were perfectly happy. There was no issues in South Africa. It's only the drama that my beloved family have made and this man have made in order to keep me from my son. Caleb and I were so happy in South Africa. There was no trauma. Claire said, you are alienating me from my child. SW advised that Ian does promote contact. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you how many times I've lost contact over this last year. I worked out I've seen my son like 44 hours in 3 years. I mean, so he's promoting contact. I mean, I forgot one issue that he brought up. When I first got back, he said that I forced myself into his house to see my son, that he didn't invite me. Meanwhile, I had all the text messages of him saying I could come and see my son.